for driver license and registration of the vehicle.
So in this video I'll give you a tiny bit of the backstory at the beginning of it, and then I'll elaborate and break down the video at the end. But the short story here was I was on my lunch break. I was parked in a park. There's maybe 2 or 3 other cars. It's kind of raining out, drizzle. There's really no one around. I look in my rearview mirror and there's these blue flashing lights, and then I look in my right mirror and I see a cop kind of cautiously approaching, kind of hunched over. It looked like he was you know, had his hand pretty close to his sidearm. And then I look at the other mirror and I see another cop on the other side. And so anyways, where this video kicks in is already about 15 minutes, 20 minutes into it, and I was getting pretty riled here. So you know, I was basically reading them the riot act, because what happened is the cop says, "Oh, you don't have insurance on your vehicle," and then he says that the RCMP computer is wrong. And then I says, you know, no cop or no judge is going to believe that. And then he came back and says, oh, we typed in a 6 instead of a 9, or a 9 instead of a 6 or something. And so basically it was their fault. And then they wanted to see my driver's license. And then I explained to them that if I'm driving along and I get stopped at a roadblock, cop sees an open can of beer in the car, and that's a fact. There is an open can of beer. And then the law clearly states, it's a fact of law, that you're not allowed to have an open alcoholic beverage in your car. So I made it clear to them, do you understand what a law is and what a fact is? And they go, yeah. And then you know, I say, would you charge someone or write someone up for having an alcoholic beverage in their car if there was no facts to substantiate that? And they go, no. And I says, okay, where are the facts to substantiate that your laws apply to me? And they kind of blew a bit of a gasket there. And they're just, yo, you don't talk over me, you don't talk, and they're kind of going sideways. And then they do the thing, oh, you don't know anything about the law. And they're kind of doing all this, you know, the typical we're superior to you. But then, you know, I was getting nowhere. We're at a stalemate. I'm not going to give him my driver's license because I've done nothing wrong, and I shouldn't have to. And under the criminal code, which I'm trying to dig up, there are 3 requirements that they can stop you and ask you for your driver's license, or, you know, who you are, what you're doing, or whatever. And you know, like one of them definitely is you know, if you're driving impaired or driving recklessly or something like that. The other 2 are a little benign, but I don't recall them offhand, but it's definitely in the criminal code. And since they admitted that they were basically interrogating me when they inputted, this guy here was the one, I'm pretty sure, who inputted the wrong data and kind of sent his buddy over, hey, let's see what this guy's doing here, or whatever. And so anyways, I'll let this video rip, and you can kind of see for yourself. And then at the end, I basically was standing on my square, and I'm sitting there, look at, you want to push it, I'll charge you with a criminal offense. I'll fill out the information, I'll deal with the judge directly, I'll bypass Crown, and if you want to push it. But you better, the smart thing to do is cut your losses and say, goodbye, have a nice day, and just leave. And that's what they did. And they left pretty damn quick because they knew that they're in the wrong, and I was not just someone who can be just pushed around and bullied around by them. So anyways, here is the tax dollars at work in Whistler.
To make sure the person has not been drinking, that's one of the reasons, and that's what we're verifying. Right now, that's the reason why we checked the plate was because we thought the vehicle had no light, no.
Because you made a mistake in entering the wrong license plate data.
Exactly.
Therefore, I'm sitting in a parking lot in a park, eating my lunch, and I've done nothing wrong. Under the criminal code, you violated the criminal code.
It has nothing to do with it.
Yes, it does.
Yes, under the,
Oh, no. The criminal code trumps motor vehicle acts. Law trumps acts and statutes.
When you're being charged, yes, sir. Right now,
you will try to charge me if I don't try to provide you with a driver's license.
In this case, we just wanted to check.
You've already checked. I've done nothing wrong. You made the mistake, and now we're doing a big hassle thing here.
We're not hassling you.
You are hassling me.
I came up to you and you instantly started yelling at me.
Because you've done nothing, I've done nothing wrong. The car's insured, I have a driver's license, and I'm sitting in a park not disturbing the peace or doing anything wrong. You've approached me against the criminal code. Because none of the three requirements of stopping or interrogating or doing something to a person in a motor vehicle have I violated. And I don't happen to remember the three things, but one is driving recklessly or impaired. That's one that you're allowed to stop me.
Checking for driver's license?
No, that is not it. No. That is after something has happened, one of the other two requirements in the criminal code. Yes, it is. Then give me your card.
Under the British Columbia, and in British Columbia, we allow at any time to pull somebody over to verify that.
No, you're not.
Yes.
Now, on the Motor Vehicle Act, maybe, but not in the criminal code.
We're basing our
well, you can't. Well,
the Motor Vehicle Act, sir.
Well, that's too bad because the criminal code, I can charge you with a criminal offense. It's in the criminal. I can.
If you think that you can, you're more than welcome.
You want to bet? You want to push this?
You could
Do you want to push this? No, I can. Under the criminal code, you've stopped me. You're interrogating me. You're doing when I've done nothing wrong. It's in the criminal code.
If you want.
Oh, you want? It's going to look really dumb on your record, even if I don't succeed. But the criminal code clearly states, and I start filing paperwork against you. It's not going to look good on your record when you're being so belligerent.
No, sir, you're not gonna,
you are.
You're not going to outspoke us, like you're saying, but you are more than welcome at any time to go to Crown. And
No, I won't. I can file my own informational because Crown will not deal with this.
Okay.
And it's very black and white. You made a mistake on the license plate number. You've hassled me here. You got my blood going when I've done nothing wrong. And you want my driver's license. I showed you the insurance.
You start yelling at us as soon as you.
Because you're breaking the law.
We are not. Sir.
You are breaking the law, and you don't know your laws. You haven't. Okay.
You're the type of person that you think you know everything.
Yeah. Well, that's what a lot of cops resort to. Oh, you know nothing. I know everything. I'm going under statutes, and I'm going under criminal code. They're your laws. Do you understand that Article 32 applies to government agents and employees, not to individuals, societies, or corporations?
Okay. So what's Article 32 then?
You are. The Constitution of Canada applies to you.
It applies to everybody.
No, it doesn't. Read Article 32. Okay, it's clear. I just said Article 32 is who the Charter applies to. The Charter applies to government agents and employees.
You're telling me the Charter of Rights and Freedoms
That's right.
applies to government agents.
And employees. And there's 3 case laws. Supreme Court of Canada clearly states the Charter does not apply to individuals, societies, or corporations.
And what is it about? Article 32.
Article 30, I just said, it's one paragraph. It says the Charter applies, and then underneath it, to government agents and employees.
But what is it?
And the government, you are definitely a federal government agent or employee. The Charter applies to you.
Teach me this. So you're saying Article 32 says...
You can look it up.
I thought you knew it.
I did. You can look. I just told you, but you obviously don't believe me because you guys haven't really read the Charter.
We came here to verify that you had insurance, and we are...
And I'm telling you, the laws don't apply to me because you violated it on September 11th, among a whole bunch of other things, and now you're giving me that squinky eye.
Not a problem. So we're more than satisfied that you have proper registration.
You could have just run it properly without me having to give the registration to you. It was your mistake.
It's human error, and that's what we thought.
Right. So there's another human error. You're on a roll. That you violated the criminal code by admitting you've made a mistake and not cutting your losses and just say, have a nice day. See you later.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem.
All right.
Well, hopefully you have a good day, sir.
Okay, look up Article 32. You'll see that you're covered. There's tons of stuff.
Okay. Have a
Bye.
To make sure the person has not been drinking. That's one of the reasons, and that's what we're verifying. Right now, that's the reason we checked the plate was because we thought the vehicle had no light,
Because you made a mistake in entering the wrong license plate data.
And not only that, they could have just looked at the plate, and you would see that I have a bright pink 2016 decal on my license plate, which they were no more than 4 or 5 feet. I don't think the guy could have fully opened his cruiser door without hitting my bumper, and he was directly aligned with it, so he could definitely see, and he was probably the one, because the laptops in the cruisers, they can actually turn to the passenger, and so they pulled right up because the lights were kind of aligned center in my mirror. So this is an obvious thing that they can see. The 2016 is a bright pink sticker. They see it's on the 25th. Like they're lying. So also, when I did hand them my insurance papers, the younger guy, or the white guy, looked at it and says, no, there's no insurance on this. And then this guy looked at it, and I had to point out that they're looking at the document, and he says, no, it doesn't look like it's valid. And then there's the receipt here. So I had to put out purchase, and this is from the insurance corporation, and it was approved. So this is absolute fact, and I just didn't take this off the insurance paper. This is clipped to the insurance papers. So I handed the insurance papers to them, and they're something is just anal when I actually have to point out the receipt showing that it's paid. So like, this was the big crime caper. I forged the decals on the car. I forged the papers, and I forged a receipt. Or I didn't, I don't know. Anyways, it's just totally lame. So we'll continue on.
Therefore, I'm sitting in a parking lot in a park, eating my lunch, and I've done nothing wrong.
Now I'm getting riled up here. You can see the camera shaking, and I haven't figured out how to the screen size here is messed up, so it won't work with my anti-shake video editing software. So anyways, you can see that this is like 15-20 minutes into dealing with these clowns on this issue, which is pretty straightforward, and so don't mind the shake. There's a couple times that it's shaking pretty bad, but
The criminal code, you violated the criminal code.
It has something to do with it.
Yes, it does.
Under the
Oh, no, the criminal code trumps motor vehicle acts. Law.
yeah, the laws trump acts. I'm gonna zap over to a little YouTube video here. Okay, since we're on the topic of rules, regulations, statutes versus law, this lady here is pretty dialed in on the difference between the two.
Now, who can use law? Law can only be used by people who are in their sovereign capacity. And as I will share with you tonight, the majority of the people in the world, and I'm not going to get into all of the details about that, but the majority of the people in the world, 99% of them live in slavery today. So in 1863, via the Emancipation Proclamation, and I challenge you to go look in a law dictionary and look up the definition of emancipation and proclamation, and you will see that a proclamation is not a law. A proclamation is a public announcement by elected officials. It is not a law. So the Emancipation Proclamation of 1863 did not set any slaves free. What it did was standardize slavery, the United States being the model for the standardization of slavery, that all of the other nations around the world, as they reduced their people from their sovereign capacity and forced them to join nation states, then they were able to issue statute, codes, ordinances, resolutions on them. And a statute, as in a state statute of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, is not a law. It is corporate policy of the corporation that calls itself the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Incorporated. All right? Now, a code is not a law. The United States codes, the code of the laws of the United States of America that are used in federal court and the Supreme Court, are not law. They are what they say they are. They are codes. ordinances, and resolutions of a municipality of the City of Philadelphia, which is a private, nonprofit corporation that calls itself the City of Philadelphia.
Municipality of Whistler.
And a resolution